This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks take a loss tonight to the New Orleans Pelicans. I think most of us figured that the Knicks would lose tonight. They didn't play bad. Let's go to 105 points for a team that had been, dropping 130 points over the past few games, playing with the young guys that they've been playing with. Tonight, only 105 points, but of course, the Pelicans were a more desperate team than the New York Knicks. The Knicks didn't need to get a win tonight, right? They didn't have to get a win. But they still came out and played hard. We can at least give them that. They came out and they played hard basketball tonight. Okay numbers from your primary players out there. RJ Barrett, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists for the night. Emmanuel Quickly, 24 points, 5 rebounds. And, they played hard. So it wasn't like they came into the game and felt like, we don't got to play hard. We're just going to let this one go. No, they came out, they played hard, they competed. They tried to win the basketball game. They just didn't have enough tonight. The Pelicans were the better team. The Pelicans were the more desperate team tonight. And they got the win. All right, so the Pelicans give themselves a chance, keep themselves in the playoff race, while the Knicks, already clinched their playoff spot. 1 game left for the New York Knicks. They play Sunday versus the Indiana Pacers at 1 p.m. That's an early game. 1 game left for the New Orleans Pelicans. They're going to see if they can get into the playoffs or, see what happens. I don't know how everything breaks down for the Pelicans, but we're talking about the Knicks here tonight. No losers lounge tonight, ladies and gentlemen. No losers lounge. Obviously, if the Pelicans would have won the game, if the Knicks would have won the game, we would have done a losers lounge tonight. We thought about doing a losers lounge for the Dallas Mavericks. If the Mavericks would have defeated the Chicago Bulls, we were going to do a losers lounge. But you know what? It was a tank job all the way. It was a tank job all the way, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Mavericks, and this isn't a Dallas Mavericks show, but they played Luka for the first quarter, some of the second quarter, and then he didn't play again for the rest of the game. And down the stretch, they let Theo Pinson shoot a 3 to tie the game, and then Frank Ntilikina shoot a 3 to tie the game. That's a tank job. But anyway, the New York Knicks tonight, still good performances from players out there. I'm glad to see RJ Barrett get back out there on the floor. He did look a little more spry, like he had a little bit more pep in his step, a little bit more juice in his legs. That's a good thing. Hopefully he's fully healed or fully recovered from his sickness, because the Knicks are going to need RJ Barrett to perform well. Now, they're going to also need RJ Barrett to knock down that 3. There was a point in the game in the fourth quarter. RJ Barrett had an open 3, the chance to tie the game, and he missed it. And I heard the announcer say, I wasn't following the stats, but I heard the announcer say it's 0 for 9 from the 3-point line. Shot very well from the field, but 0 for 9 from the 3-point line. And when I looked at his shot, even before the announcer said anything, when I looked at his shot, it just looked rushed. RJ doesn't look confident outside that three-point line. He's not confident outside the three-point line. Still, going 0 for 9, he was 44% from the field, 11 for 25 from the field. He made 11 field goals. He shot 44%. That's not bad. Imagine if he made a couple of those threes, it'd look a lot better. His field goal percentage would. But contributions from RJ across the board, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block. He looked good going to the basket. But for the Knicks to be successful, man, they need RJ to be able to hit those threes. And I sincerely hope over the offseason, I hope he gets hot during the playoffs. We've seen RJ get hot and have his times where he knocks down threes, right? Hopefully he gets hot during the playoffs. Everyone on this team, everyone in the NBA is going to have a chance to reset. Well, everybody who's in the playoffs and not in the play-in, they're going to have a chance to reset. That could be good for the psyche. Good for the energy. Have to reset, reboot, come back out to play. Now, as I said in the last stream, maybe it was earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, whenever it was, I needed the Knicks to lose a game. And while I'm rooting for them to win, I wanted them to lose a game because the Knicks have been streaky all season long. And just being kind of superstitious, I needed them to lose a game so that they can break the winning streak, so they can start a new winning streak when the playoffs come. I just felt kind of a little bit nervous that, okay, they're going on they're on a long winning streak and then they drop 3 in a row or something like that. You know what I mean? That's just my superstition speaking up. You know what I mean? When my team, when my girls were playing, when we were playing in the season, we won a game. We lost the game and then we won the next game, and I had worn different pants that I normally wear on the sideline. And because we won, I kept wearing those pants every game. And it seemed to work. We kept winning. So, got a little bit of superstition to me. Obi Toppin tonight, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from the three-point line. And this is the thing about Obi, man. You seen the other night when he dropped 32 points, because it was him and IQ and Quentin Grimes, he had the mindset to be more aggressive. He felt like he needed to step up. And then when he gets out there, now that RJ's out there, it seems like, okay, he takes a little bit more of a back seat. Although I see, Obi, I feel like his confidence is picking up as far as just growing into a man. I see him talking and barking at people a little bit. Obviously, you seen what happened with RJ the other day when him and RJ got into a little bit of an argument, right? But I see him, giving some instructions, right? I seen him give some instructions to Quentin Grimes. That's signs of growth. But still, he'll take a back seat a little bit when somebody else gets out there on the floor instead of remaining aggressive. 9 shots tonight for Obi Toppin. 4 for 9, 1 for 4 from the three-point line. Grabbed 4 rebounds. It's better than grabbing 1. 1 assist, 1 steal. I'd like to see Obi continue to be aggressive when he's out there on the floor. You notice that down the stretch of the game, because it was a tight game, Tom Thibodeau opted not to use Obi tonight. And he went with a smaller, more aggressive, more defensive-minded lineup with Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Hartenstein, R.J. Barrett to close the game. To be honest with you, I thought he could have used some of Obi Toppin's height and length out there, even in that fourth quarter. I thought it could have helped, but, he decided to go with the lineup that was a little bit more defensive. And you started to kind of get a glimpse with this team on, how they would play against tougher teams. If this was the team that you had, how they would play, who would rise to the top, who'd be the cream of the crop, who would take a back seat, how would you play lineups down the stretch of the game, and these are things to remember as we go into the playoffs because you don't know who's going to be in foul trouble or whatever, and Tom Thibodeau has an idea of the guys and the type of guys that he wants to play down the stretch of the game. Tonight, I guess he just didn't feel that Obi was. Maybe he didn't feel he was getting it defensively, or maybe he felt he needed, just stronger defenders out there. I thought maybe he could have used his length even down the stretch of that basketball game. Quentin Grimes tonight, 45% from the field, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Manuel Quickly, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Continues to play great basketball, man. 47% from the field, 6 for 10 from the three-point line. That's good basketball. And even though he had 39 points the other night, he wasn't intent on he had to be the shot-taking leader or whatever or get the most shot attempts. He continued to just play the type of basketball game that's going to help him grow as a point guard, right? He continued to do that. And RJ Barrett actually took the most shot attempts with 25 tonight. Josh Hart did his usual, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Had a little thing going on with Brandon Ingram tonight. Hopefully it's just, old buddies who maybe they had some practice time rivalry. And Jericho Sims tonight, 6 points, 8 rebounds. So the Knicks got good contributions. Defense wasn't the greatest, and they didn't score like we've been seeing them score in previous games. 105 points tonight, 43% from the field, 32.6% from the three-point line. Josh, what's going on with you, man? Your thoughts on tonight's game? We know it doesn't mean a heck of a lot, but you do get some, you get to see these guys against some tougher competition and how they might look against tougher competition. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about what I saw tonight, or the loss that for that matter. I'm not really concerned about that. It was good to see RJ back. RJ, being aggressive, getting to the lane, doing that part of it. But I just think his ceiling is extremely limited when he's not knocking down his 3-point shot, right? He had the ball for the majority of the time, himself quickly. But, his 28 points that he had tonight? His 28 points is I don't want to say fool's gold, but it's not 28 points that you would like to see, right? Efficient, from 2, but 0 for 9 from 3, that's just not going to cut it. Particularly if RJ is supposed to be the person that people are hoping that he can be, right? I think that's what limits him, is his lack of 3-point shot. I still think he played a good game tonight. Good game tonight. Quickly, I agree with you with him not forcing it and feeling like he had to be the man tonight, actually passing the ball around, getting other people involved with the offense. But tonight we just didn't have enough. And we would do to lose one, playing well, lately. So we would do to lose a game. And like you said, New Orleans has something to play for. So, it is what it is. We really just really warming up for the playoffs at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is. Warming up, making sure everybody stays in shape. Most of all, stays healthy out there. I'm expecting against Indiana. You may even see Manuel Quickly sit down against Indiana and Miles McBride play and start at the point guard spot. And, they shuffle the lineup however they shuffle the lineup. Maybe, I don't know, they might want RJ Barrett to get another one in since he was out for a few games. Maybe even Obi Toppin sits. I wouldn't expect many guys to play in that final home stand on Sunday versus the Indiana Pacers. Well, you got to field the team, but you know what I mean? Like Dallas did with Luka. He played for a few minutes in the first half, and then he was out for the remainder of the game. You may see some things like that with the Knicks. Quentin Grimes maybe. Quentin Grimes has been, he started the season not in the lineup, but he's been there for a while. They may say, hey, go ahead and take a break. So I would expect guys like Jericho Sims to get a whole lot of playing time, Evan Fournier, Miles McBride, maybe Trevor Keels, maybe, you do see some Derrick Rose since it's the final home game of the season. Guys like that getting majority of the playing time on Sunday. It is 1 p.m. an early game at home.
Matinee affair.
Matinee affair as the Knicks get themselves ready for the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of the playoffs, we only got 10 tickets left. 10 tickets left for that Game 4 matchup versus the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, 10 tickets left. If you plan on buying them, you might want to jump on them now, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know if they're going to go past tomorrow, to be honest with you. Now, we do have an extension as to when that deadline is going to be. That's now Monday. All right, Monday, April 10th at 5:30 p.m. After that, we'll be said and done. But to be honest with you, we might be said and done way before Monday. So you might want to think about buying those tickets. The game is, it's either going to be a closeout game. Somebody will be up 3-0 or somebody will be up 2-1. So somebody will have a chance to tie or somebody might be trying to save themselves from being closed out. All right? It's a critical game, that Game 4 is. It's $365 per ticket. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, the longer you wait, it's going to be hard to find any ticket in the arena that's $365. All right? You get one ticket to Game 4. You get seating in a luxury lounge number 302. We already know which number it is. You get food and beverage. Alcohol is on your own. All right? But you'll get food and beverages in the lounge. And then, again, your ticket must be purchased by Monday, April 10th at 5:30 p.m. There are only 10 tickets remaining. So you might want to get it done now. There's a link right there in the YouTube chat. There's also a link in the description of the video. All right. Any other thoughts about this game? Anything you've seen from any of the players that you hope they can bring over into the postseason?
Nothing that I haven't already seen or that I know, but on a less than positive note, I mean, Obi, for God's sake, how do you let CJ McCollum bully you to the hole like that? I'm sorry. I know that was one play, but geez Louise. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen him out there on the floor. It's because of his defensive shortcomings.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
And for you to let a small guard like that bully you to the hole, someone who's not known to bully anybody to the hole like that, and then flexed on you, I don't know. That play just kind of stuck out for me. And I think that's part of the reason why Obi Toppin is limited in his minutes on the floor. Even at the 3 position, people were talking about that early in the season. I don't even like that, Obi there in that position, because that just can't happen. So outside of that, I mean,
have you seen Obi Toppin's lower body? Have you ever seen his legs? Yeah. Not while he's playing. Like, there was a picture one time where I think he was in Vegas. Maybe it was his rookie year. And, he just had on some shorts. And if you've seen his legs, you're like, how does he walk without crutches? You know what I mean? This guy has some of the skinniest legs I've ever seen on a 6'8", 6'9" guy. You know what I mean? He has no lower body strength. So when you have someone, a smaller guy, if they can get into his body, I don't think there's anything he can do about it. He just doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the strength, the lower body strength to hold his own. That's tough.
It is. I mean, I agree with you. It is, but I don't know. It just stood out to me, like that play, one play right there. Listen, Obi can give us something offensively, no doubt about that. And I know when he's on the floor, the team moves at a little bit of a quicker pace offensively. I like the fact that Obi does get out in transition. I think that's a part of the team that we're definitely going to need come playoff time. But I think tonight, you can understand, along with what you said in regards to how small his legs are, why Thibodeau doesn't like to really use him out there, because he is just so much of a liability defensively.
Yeah,
He has made some
he
improvements,
is.
but he's a liability,
Right.
point blank. And
And
that's the reason why Obi's limited, along with Randall playing all NBA basketball. So hopefully for Obi, and I know, talking a little bit prematurely here, hopefully in the offseason he does something about improving his lower body strength and improving defensively, because that can't happen. That just can't happen. I'm sorry about that.
yeah, and the
Can't.
thing is, like Nikki B from Harlem is saying, if Obi could, like you're saying, in the off season, add muscle, play some defense. I don't know if he would be Giannis, but he could. I mean, he'd be tough to stop. I would say he's the best
Athletic.
finisher on this team. Right? Obi has a beautiful touch around the basket. Once he gets to the basket, I'm like, yeah, he's probably gonna make that. He has great extension to the basket when he gets there. Obviously, we know that he can jump, but yeah, he's definitely, in my opinion, the best finisher on the team. That doesn't mean that. I mean, you still got to do the things to get to the basket to finish, but
Right.
when he gets there,
Yeah.
I think if he's not the best, he's at least one of the best finishers. And has a great touch around the basket. Uh, there's just that aggressiveness, and I think the whole team, looking at the game tonight, there's you can feel the physicality missing without Mitch, without Brunson, without Julius Randle, right? Playing against a team, like this in this type of a situation. Now, the past couple of games, both of the teams, the Cavs and the Pacers, it was playing that kind of really up-tempo, fast-paced type of game where there was a lot of scoring going on. So it really suited the players we have out here on the floor now. But today's game was a little bit more testy, I think, slowed down a little bit more. And without Brunson and Randall and Mitch, we missed that physicality. And Obi doesn't bring that kind of physicality. And I think that's one of the things that keeps him off the floor behind Randall, or keeps him, not playing as many minutes as some people would like behind Randall, is he doesn't bring that physicality. And Tom Thibodeau likes the physicality.
Right.
That's part of how he plays, or wants to play, wants his teams to play with physicality. The one thing, though, that you can say is that the team these guys aren't going to stop. They're going to play hard no matter what. And it doesn't matter who's going to be out there on the floor. When you look at who's may play on Sunday, you're still going to be talking about guys that's going to come at you hard and play tough basketball, And, that's a testament to Tom Thibodeau. I do want to address one thing just about Tom Thibodeau. I see stuff on Twitter, in places, and people ask, well, do you give Tom Thibodeau credit for this Knicks winning? And you got people say no. That's ridiculous to me. How do you not give Tom Thibodeau credit? I'm not saying he deserves all the credit. It's a team effort. It would make no sense that you're only giving Tom Thibodeau credit, right? It's an entire team, so he gets credit. His coaching staff gets credit. The players get credit. But how can you take him out of receiving credit and say, oh, well, they won despite him? That's ridiculous.
That is narrative chasing, Sim. That's why I don't pay attention to those type of posts. And it's just ridiculous. How can you say that Tom Thibodeau doesn't get any credit when we've seen the constant development of Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, from where they came from and what they were doing in their first years to what they're doing now? It's just, to me, it's mind-boggling how anybody can go against what Tom Thibodeau has done for this team. All these players play hard for him. How many coaches can we legitimately say around the league that players are going to play hard for their coach every single night?
Yeah.
Right. And the starting lineups, despite injuries here and there, the starting lineups have been consistent. Tibbs knows what lineups he's putting out there on the floor and knows what buttons to push during the course of the game in order to get the team going. So to me, I just don't understand that rhetoric. I think it's Knicks fans being negative and forcing our own narratives, right? As much as we like to blame others, we do it too, right? And this one is another one of those cases. So I wouldn't even pay attention to that, Sim, to be honest with you.
Yeah. There's some people in the chat that are really spot on. You know what I mean? When talking about Tom Thibodeau, and how he's helped this basketball team. Number one, when he came here, everything was in disarray. They were terrible. And he took basically the same squad that Fizdale had and turned them into a 42-win team. Well, it was 42 wins, right? 41-win team.
41, yep.
In a shortened season, 41-win team. And he did that by bringing in structure, standards on how you need to be in shape. He knew what his starting lineup was going to be coming out of preseason. Although he said different, he knew what it was going to be. And he rocked with it. And, that's sometimes a downfall, right? Because a lot of times he sticks with his guys, and some people think he sticks with them too long. And maybe he does, right? So that could be a downfall, but it's also a good thing. Right? Guys coming out of that season said, hey, we know when we're going to play. We know when we're going into the game. There's no secrets about what our role is. And I think that's what really provided the structure for these guys. And even going into the next season when they were 37-45, they had structure. They understood, guys who were coming back understood how he wanted to play. And even though back then, in that season, when Kemba came and Evan Fournier came, some people looked at him crazy, but he wasn't afraid to take Kemba Walker out. As big of a name as Kemba Walker was, he was like, yeah, this guy's not getting it. He's not bringing what I want from the position. And he sat him out. All right, he didn't do the same with Evan Fournier. Felt like he needed Evan Fournier out there for scoring. And then when you look at this season, though, his favorite player, one of his favorite players ever, Derrick Rose, is not playing. Sat out Evan Fournier. Right? Sat these guys out. And one of the complaints that I seen on Twitter was, that, Tom Thibodeau can't win without great vets. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, Derrick Rose isn't playing. Evan Fournier's not playing. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess they're talking about Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. I don't know. But those guys aren't playing. And that takes a lot to one of your favorite guys in the league, sit him down and say, you're not helping us win right now. I got to sit you down. Evan Fournier making one of the highest paid players on the team. You got to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not getting the job done. And I'm going to play guys like Deuce because he's getting the job done. That takes a lot from a coach. And I think he should be commended for that.
Absolutely. No question. No question about that, Sam. And then for that person who said that Tom Thibodeau can't win without good veterans, I don't think any coach can. I don't think any coach can. The best teams, the championship level teams, have veterans on their team that they play. Right now, obviously, those veterans are contributing, right? But every coach needs to have veterans. Every locker room needs to have veterans. Someone has to lead, if not based on their play. Someone has to lead from a mental perspective. And a locker room. That goes for any sport. You got to have, in high school sports, you got to have your seniors on the team. If not contributing from a playing perspective, contributing from mentoring the youth and the younger players. Mm-hmm. That is a natural part of life. Not just sports, but life. Right. No. So I don't understand that part at all. And I agree. I think Tom Thibodeau should definitely be commended. If it's one thing that I had a knock on Tibbs for was the way he runs his offense. Right. And the stagnation and the over dependence on isolation sometimes. And me and you have talked about this on numerous occasions. But now that we have bench guys who actually push the pace and we can play a different style of offense and we can be able to balance it out and, be good in isolation and also be good on transition, I think the sky's the limit for this team. So I give Tibbs a lot of credit for making that adjustment. Understanding that some things need to change in order for this team to be successful. And that's what he did, especially when it comes to the younger players, the Quicklys and the Grimes, play the kids, that whole false narrative from last season. They're playing this year, right? And for those who, and last point I'll make, Sam, for those who say hard will, right? For those who say that Emmanuel Quickley has not developed under Tom Thibodeau and that he would have developed better as a starter. Emmanuel Quickley's still not starting, and he's developed.
Yeah.
And look where he is right now on the brink of winning the Sixth Man of the Year. So I think Tibbs deserves all the credit.
Right. And then when you look at some of the players that have been brought into this team, Josh Hart, for one, Tom Thibodeau wanted Josh Hart. Right? And you know when Tom Thibodeau wants somebody on the team because they come out and they play.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Thibodeau wanted Emmanuel Quickly, right? They talked about it when he first got drafted, how he had been watching Emmanuel Quickly for a while. He was one of the guys he wanted to draft. He wanted to draft Deuce McBride. They got him. He wanted Quentin Grimes. That's why they traded down so many times, because he wanted Quentin Grimes. Jericho Sims, he's another guy that he wanted. Right? And while the front office, we got to applaud the front office for the moves that they made in bringing these guys in. Tom Thibodeau wanted those guys. You know, he said, I want these kind of guys, and here are some guys that you can go get. Now, he also wanted Evan Fournier. Right? Evan Fournier didn't turn out to be what he thought he was going to be for him, and he benched him. Now, I see someone in the chat say, but y'all say Tibbs' job wasn't at stake. He had to change something, sitting D Rose and Fournier. I mean, I don't know if he sat him because his job was at stake, or if he just decided these are the guys that I don't think these guys are getting it for me, so I'm going to sit them. You know, we don't know that for sure. You know, we don't know for sure what happened there.
Sim, let me ask you a question. Make this make sense. Maybe you can make this make sense, right? Tibbs' job was at stake from who? Leon Rose and the front office, and they're the ones who bought Derrick Rose back and Evan Fournier back, and Tibbs sat them. So how can Tibbs' job be at stake because he sat those guys when the front office are the ones who bought them in? That makes no sense at all. And I think Public Enemy and who else? Pudge Nice, thinking that the fans had some effect on this. If that's the case, how come Cam Reddish didn't play? The fans wanted him to play.
There you go.
Cam Reddish can't play.
Play.
I mean, as much as we like to think that we have like power within the situation, we don't. Right? We don't. And guess what? The team's winning. The team's been winning games throughout the regular season.
Yeah,
Tom Thibodeau had a winning record at the end of, or like mediocre record, but it's still a winning record at the end of season 2 at the helm.
Like 42 and 40 or 82 and 80 or something like that. You know, after, something like that, 82 and 80 or something. I mean,
exactly. Tibbs' job was not at stake at all. This roster that he had last season and the year before that, one of the lowest payrolls in the league. The Knicks were not under any pressure to win and do anything substantial in the last 2 seasons. No pressure at all.
Nope. So, I mean, I know there are people that just don't like him, and I get it. You know, you're going to have people that you like and people that you dislike, but I don't think you can't discount the job that he's done. And it's not that he's a perfect coach. He may not even get you to the promised land. Who knows? But he's done what he's supposed to do with this team here right now. You know what I mean? Because if it, you can say this coach or that coach would have come in and did a better job. I think there are very few coaches in this league that would have come in and did a better job than Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion. Very few. You know, you could probably count them on one hand. And those coaches probably have a job that they're not leaving, and those teams aren't giving that coach away. So you weren't going and getting those coaches. And by the way, he wanted Jalen Brunson on the team too. You know what I mean? So, I think you have to give him credit. And, of course, you got to give the players credit because they put the work in to get better, right? The coach can only do so much. Emmanuel Quickly had to put the work in to get better. Julius Randle had to put the work in to continuously get better. RJ Barrett has to put the work in to continuously get better, right? Quentin Grimes. Did you see how much Quentin Grimes was working during the offseason? He was working like crazy, so much so that he came in with, a sore foot, a tired foot, because he was putting in so much work during the offseason. You know what I mean? It was, and part of that is because they know what's demanded from them, from the coaching staff. I mean, that's what's demanded from them, that they put in the work. Yep. Nikki Barnes, put that back up there. Josh?
Nicky Barnes.
Yeah, he said, oh, I didn't have Nikki B from Harlem. Yeah. Coaches are not taking fan polls to decide playing time. Exactly. You know what would be interesting? If they did an exhibition game where, coaches were following fan polls to see who should play and who they should put in. Just an exhibition game. I think that would be funny.
Sim, it's the equivalent. I know you know this more than probably anybody, but it's the equivalent of parents saying, well, my kid should play more than that kid. I know you know all about that.
It's crazy because I was just thinking about it during the game when, I was watching the Knicks, the ball was moving, watching it moving. And I was thinking about how, parents, when they see, especially youth, especially young teams, parents are out there, and as soon as their child catches the ball, they're yelling, shoot it. No matter what the coach is asking them to do, shoot it. And that's all you hear, yelling, shoot it. And as the coach, you're like, be quiet. What do you mean, shoot it? I'm trying to teach them how to play a certain style of ball. But, yeah, that's what it's definitely the equivalent of that. You know what I mean? So I'm just asking people, man, give Tom Thibodeau at least some slack for what he's done with this team in the regular season. Now we'll see what he can do in the postseason. Because even that first year in the postseason, you got to admit the Knicks just didn't have the pieces to really win the way that we all hoped that they would be able to win. I think they have the pieces this year. I don't think that's an excuse. Unless people really go down and can't play. I don't think that's an excuse. I think they have the pieces to play well in the playoffs this year, not get knocked out, basically get swept. I think they have the pieces to do so.
And the playoffs, like I always say, the playoffs is going to determine whether his job will be at stake or not, especially if the Knicks, this roster is going to be together. We assume based on the contract situation, the salary cap, they're going to be together for at least the next 2 to 3 years. They're going to be together. And Tibbs, based on his contract, is going to be here for the next 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. Let's see how this team is able to progress in the playoffs, if they hit a wall, and then we can reevaluate and say Tom Thibodeau's job is at stake. But to me, I just think it's naive. I think it's premature for fans to think that after 2 seasons, before the season started, that Tom Thibodeau's job was in jeopardy after he won Coach of the Year in one of the seasons, and Julius Randle won Most Improved Player, and the Knicks basically shocked a lot of people in the league. You know what I mean? And now he has his team again shocking the league, and in a pretty good position to get out the first round this year, right? So I just think it's premature and naive from some fans who are just trying to stick to a narrative, right? And yes, I did think the Knicks were going to be a playing team. I thought they were going to be mediocre. Tibbs has proved me wrong. The Knicks have proved me wrong. So that contributes to my argument as to why I would not be naive like that. They proved me wrong. They've been playing good basketball.
Yeah.
Can't knock it.
Jay Beckton, just really quick, said, is there a date for Game 4 yet? Not yet. It's not a date yet. When you look at the schedule, you can assume and kind of guesstimate that a Game 4 will be played around the 22nd or 23rd of April, which is a Saturday and a Sunday. I would say somewhere around that time is when that game will be played. Nick Sive said, forget the past. The Knicks are winning. My worry is if Tibbs is going to abandon the team play for the sake of big number 30, Julius Randle. I mean, I think when he comes back, they're going to play the same way that they've played all season long. I think that's how they're going to play. Now when the younger guys get in the game, they'll play a different style. And I think this. The younger guys that's out there, they're not playing this style without it being taught. Right? They're not playing like this. It's not like they just stepped on the floor and started doing this. This is what they've been taught to play and how they play. This group doesn't get the same amount of playing time as Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, because you still have to be effective enough, to beat really good basketball teams. Now, we haven't seen this group play against really good basketball teams to see if that they would beat them playing this style of basketball. Tom Thibodeau must not think so. And, as a coach, you have to say, okay, I got this group on the floor. They got to play this style. This group has to play this style. The issue is when you talk about the players and the styles is a certain group doesn't get as much playing time together, right? So Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, the group that you're seeing out there now, they don't get as much playing time together as the Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett and so on. You understand what I'm saying? But these guys didn't just step on this court and magically start doing it. It's something that they've been doing. In practices, in games, you just don't see it as much. They've also been giving up a lot of points. So you got to find that balance. And maybe the balance can tip a little bit more towards these guys playing together. Maybe this is something that Tom Thibodeau has seen during this stretch, right? But you got to find a balance so that you can to make sure that you're competitive and you can play different styles of basketball and you can utilize your players. You know what I mean?
Sam, I agree with 90% of what you said. The only 10% that I don't agree with is the fact that we haven't seen the Knicks play this style of basketball and be successful this year. That part. I think there's been games earlier in the season, the Golden State game where we blew them out on national TV. Granted, they didn't have Steph Curry, but we played great defense and we moved the basketball. I think we had upper 20s in assists that game, and we were just moving the ball very, very well. But everything else you said, I agree with. It's all about balance. Yes, when Julius Randle comes back, we're going to go back to playing isolation basketball. My issue is I just don't want the Knicks to be over-reliant on it. And when it's not working, not being able to adjust to do something different. With these young guys coming in, particularly that bench unit, right, and putting Grimes and RJ out there with that bench unit, you're going to see that ball move a little bit more, and you're gonna see the pace pick up, right? And I'm okay with that. I want to see them kind of adjust and go to that because I think they're going to get easier buckets that way when it's not falling in isolation, right? So I think it's a plus that we have young players who are playing this way in this particular style of basketball. I agree, Sam, that Tibbs is not going to be over-reliant on it. He's going to depend on Randle and Brunson to carry us in isolation, and they've been great this year. But when those shots are not falling, playing that style, I want to see us be able to adjust to do the other stuff. And it's all about balance. I'm not asking the Knicks to play like molasses, and I'm not asking them to play like Golden State during the championship years. Balance is what I'm asking for, and I think you hit that right on the nose.
Yeah. We'll see. And look, this could be a really, really good this stretch of basketball that the Knicks have played. Could be something that the coaching staff is talking and saying, hey, we can do this a little bit more, and it could benefit us, especially whenever Julius Randle does come back. He's not going to be 100% healthy on that ankle. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to be 100% healthy. It takes a long time for an ankle to heal. I seen someone in one of my videos say something about, 2 weeks for an ankle, he should be back. No, man. It depends on how it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes an ankle can take, I've seen an ankle sprain for someone take longer than a break to heal fully. You know what I mean? And they may still be able to play on it, but it's still not fully healed, and you may not be able to push off on it without the pain and things like that. So, he may need to use those lineups a little bit more. Looking at tonight, I still don't feel like he trusts Obi as much because of the defense.
Yeah.
That's the big drawback. You know what I mean? Because of the defense, because he wasn't out there. When the game was on the line, Obi wasn't out there tonight. And mainly because of, his defense.
And think about the first round matchup. We're talking about Cleveland, right? So we're talking about Evan Mobley, right? That is Obi's going to have his hands full dealing with that dude.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I'm saying? So I agree.
Yeah, he is.
Knicks got to be able to find other ways if Julius Randle's not going to be fully healthy to make up for what Obi does not give us defensively.
Yeah, and what I get scared with Obi, with what I talked about in the beginning is when he gets out there with guys that have a higher in the depth chart or whatever you want to say, he falls back. You know what I'm saying? And I get afraid in the playoffs that he's going to fall back. And all of a sudden he's kind of a ghost out there on the floor and he's just running up and down, waiting for the ball to come to him and then passing it off, handing it off. You know what I mean? I hope not. You know, because you've seen over the past few games some things that he can do when he keeps himself engaged and doesn't play passive. But when you get the bigger dogs out there, he starts to play a little bit more passive. You know what I mean? And you know, in the playoffs, Jalen Brunson just naturally is going to be like, I got it. I got the ball. I got it. I'm doing my thing. And if I find you, I find you. You know, just be ready, hands ready for a kick out or whatever it is. You know, but you know, he's got to get the mindset, and it's probably a confidence thing. You know, but he's got it. And you know, we talked about that all in the beginning of the season. He talked about it, the confidence, getting the confidence, being confident, being more confident, not looking over my shoulder. You know, and you see times when it's there, then you see times when it wavers a little bit. I just want to see him be aggressive. You know, especially when he gets out there with Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett and Mitch and Quentin Grimes, and they're out there on the floor. Be aggressive and play your basketball game. I think that's another one of that, and the defense. I think are the two biggest drawbacks for Obi right now.
Yeah, the confidence, I'm not really worried about that as much as I am the defense. I see where you're coming from, but I think Obi has gotten way better in that regard from a confidence standpoint when he's on the floor. I see what you are saying in regards to when some of the other big dogs are on the floor, but I think that's why he is trying to command that respect. I think his situation with RJ was about that same kind of thing. Maybe nothing overt as far as RJ not looking for him or whatever it is, something like that. But I think that frustration kind of built up from what you're talking about in regards to that. And I think Obi's trying to find his way and find his footing with that. I'm not really concerned about that as much. But the defense, oh yeah, no question about that. I think the defense is where, and the rebounding, like you always say, is what I'm really concerned about when it comes to him. I think Obi's confidence, when he's out there with quickly and then he's moving in transition, I think he's fine.
But I feel like tonight, like the other night, you know, you seen him. He had to be one of the three guys to score. He had to be. Tonight, R.J. Barrett is there. He takes 9 shots tonight. And you can say, well, that's just how the offense flowed. I don't think so. I think there were times when he could have said, I got it, you know, just like he's done in the past couple of games. And I feel like having when you have that kind of mentality, when the pressure picks up, you might back up even a little bit more. You know, and say, oh, well, I'm just going to depend on you two. You know what I'm saying? And he backs up a little bit more. I just want him to be confident enough to say, all right, you know, I'm going to be part of this scoring barrage with you guys. You know, and I don't want to say be selfish, but, you know, at times look to the basket to get a shot because, you know, he can go off the dribble sometimes. He's shown it. He's shown it tonight. A really nice move from the top of the key down the lane and made it with his left hand. You know what I mean? It's the growth of a player. You know, it's the growth of a player, especially someone who's taken the path to the NBA that he has. You know, bouncing around from different schools, then went to prep school. You know, even when he went to college, it was more his athleticism and not his skill that got him over the top. Over the years, he's built his skill up more. So, you know, he's taken a different path than a lot of players in the league today. And you know, sometimes it's just the growth of a young man. We'll see in a week and a half or so. A week, actually. A week. Yeah. You know, we're about a week away from the playoffs. What do you think about this play-in tournament and what it's going to look like? Who do you expect to come out of the play-in tournament in the East?
So I think Miami is now locked into that 7th spot now, right? I think Brooklyn's locked into the 6th and Miami's locked into the 7th. Even though Miami's, you know, sometimes they play super well, and then sometimes they, you know, like they beat up on Philly the other night. I think Miami is just a scary team for those plans, particularly for the East. I think Miami's just, I think they're gonna definitely come out of the play-in. I would say, Chicago. I like Chicago a lot. Who's number 8 in the East? Let me see who.
8 is Atlanta. So it'd be Miami and Atlanta playing the 7-8. And then the winner of that would play against, would get the 7th seed. And then the loser of Miami and Atlanta will play the winner of Chicago and Toronto.
I like Chicago. I like Chicago and Miami. I think that's Miami 7, Chicago 8. That's what I like there. I like that. Chicago's been playing decent basketball lately. I don't think they can go anywhere. Obviously, they don't have a point guard, solid point guard, right? So they're limited, extremely limited in what they can do. But I like Miami and Chicago, 100% them. In the West, that's still going on. I think they showed the standings today. The Pelicans I think they are like tied for fifth now or something like that. So I don't even know who's in that.
Yeah, so right now the Pelicans are 42-39 with this win over the Knicks. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Currently in the 7th seed, Golden State and the Clippers are probably playing right now, right? Because Golden State is currently in the 6th spot. They're 42-38. And the Clippers are currently in the 5th spot. They're also 42-38. If one of those two teams lose, it's depending on the tiebreakers, it's possible that New Orleans moves up into that spot. So it's extremely tight. So right now the Warriors, they're beating the Sacramento Kings 86-73. And then the Clippers, the Clippers didn't play tonight. So they'll probably play tomorrow.
Then the Warriors are playing the Lakers. I think. Oh, no, they're playing the Sacramento.
They're playing the Kings tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, and Phoenix is playing the Lakers. Right now, Phoenix is up 75-72 over the Lakers.
AD's out in that matchup.
Yeah, and then the Clippers, they play the Blazers tomorrow night. You would expect the Clippers to win that game. With the way things are, if the Warriors win and the Clippers win, things will probably stay where they are. Maybe the Pelicans move into that 7th spot over the Lakers. That's possible. The Lakers, the Pelicans are already in the 7th spot. So they might secure that.
Right, the Lakers are off tonight. Right.
No, they're playing tonight. They're playing Phoenix tonight.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Okay, so.
Yeah, they're losing to Phoenix right now. So, that West is, I guess which teams are in the play-in now because Dallas is out. Right? Dallas is out.
I would say Pelicans, Lakers. I would keep it as it is. I think it's going to be Clippers, Warriors, Pelicans, Lakers. 5, 6, 7, 8. Or actually, I like the Warriors to overtake the Clippers. I like the Warriors at 5, and I think that first round matchup is going to be the Warriors versus the Suns. And then it's going to be Clippers at 6, Pelicans at 7, Lakers at 8. And I think the Warriors are scary. I still think they're scary.
Well,
hopefully they get Wiggins back.
Well, right now the Warriors are winning. They win this game, they'll move into the 5th seed over the Clippers, but then the Clippers play tomorrow. Right? And they play the Blazers. So if they win that game versus the Blazers, they'll probably move back into the 5th seed. Because right now, the Warriors and Clippers are tied, and the Clippers are in the 5th seed. And then on Sunday, the Clippers play the Suns, and the Warriors play the Blazers. So it'll probably come down to Sunday. Because then the Warriors are playing the Blazers. They'll probably beat the Blazers. And then the Clippers are playing the Suns. I guess it'll depend on what the Suns are doing at that point in time as far as playing their guys.
I doubt KD's going to play because they're already locked into that 4th seed, I think. So,
Right. Who do you think comes out of the play-in and gets into the playoffs?
For the West?
For the West. If it's New Orleans and the Lakers playing 7 and 8, and then Minnesota and Oklahoma playing 9 and 10.
I think I like the Lakers over the Pelicans to take 7. And then I think the Pelicans can beat either 7 or 8, the Timberwolves or the who was it? Timberwolves or
Oklahoma. Right. So I could see that, being the Lakers and the Pelicans in 7 and 8. Yeah. That play-in tournament it's turned out to be really good. I don't know if it necessarily did what it was. For the most part, I'd say it did what it's supposed to do. But Dallas tried to turn it upside down tonight, right? Because Dallas they literally could have gotten into the play-in. They could have won tonight. If they played their guys, they would have won. They would have beat the Bulls tonight because the Bulls sat everybody. They would have beat the Bulls tonight. And then they would have just needed Oklahoma City to lose to Memphis. Right? So they would have had a chance to be in the play-in, but they decided, no, we're done. Right? And blatantly, like they did it blatantly. And I don't know if Adam Silver's going to do anything about it. But they blatantly tanked tonight. It was blatant. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we have a chance to get into the playoffs, but nope. We're not going to play anybody. We're throwing away the rest of the season because we don't want to give up the draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. I mean, I don't know if it's anything Adam Silver can do. I know they just agreed to the new CBA, right? So I don't know if there's anything in there for those type of situations. We already have the play-in situation. We already have the lottery that changed during the Zion draft. Mm-hmm. So it's not based on overall record anymore. It is based on some odds. So I really don't know if there's anything the NBA really could do about this situation. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah,
it would be nice to have the pick. And we still can get the pick. You know, it's still not over yet. We still can get it. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything they can do. I know a couple of years ago, 2018 or whatever, Mark Cuban was fined for saying in an interview that they tanked. You know, that they had a meeting about it and said the best thing for us to do right now is lose, and he got hit with a fine. It seems obvious they had a meeting about this and said, hey, the best thing for us to do right now is lose so that we don't give up this draft pick because we're likely not going anywhere. He's right. It is probably the best thing for them to do at this point so that you don't give up that draft pick, you know, for a season that's not going anywhere. But, you know, they did it blatant, though. There was no...
Yeah.
It was pretty blatant, like, pretty blatant.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty blatant, but I think it's from the NBA standpoint, I think he got fined because he said it, right? I think that's the reason why. But it's really, the NBA is really limited in what they can do with these situations. It's really hard for them to do anything.
You know, it's not much you can do about it. It's just funny, you know what I mean? And then, of course,
very,
you know, and then of course he's kind of, you know, probably sticking it to the Knicks too, which, you know, he has a right to do. That's his draft pick. They should try to keep that draft pick, you know, sticking it to the Knicks for the whole Jalen Brunson thing,
right?
And all of that, you know, it's, you know, funny, comical stuff, man. It's like reality TV.
Yeah, the Mavericks from a cap and salary cap and asset perspective, the Mavericks are screwed. They are depleted from a draft perspective.
Yep.
They traded away the picks to get Kyrie and half their roster to get Kyrie. They're maxed out over the luxury tax. So they are screwed. So they need as many picks as they can get, right? Yeah. To try to do something, or else they might risk losing Luka Doncic, which I can definitely see happening. So yeah, I mean, they got to do everything they got to do to try to save face, I suppose, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then even down the stretch of the game, because I watched the fourth quarter or the second part of the fourth quarter, and it even looked to me like they blatantly let Chicago get a 5-point lead. They hit a couple of shots. They turned it to, you know, where they were within 3. You know, they got it down to where they were within 1, and then they allowed them to get an easy layup at the basket, right? And then when it came down to trying to tie the game on a 3, who they have shoot it? Theo Pinson. Really? Like this, you know, there's other people out there on the floor. You drew the play up for Theo Pinson. I thought maybe Frank Ntilikina was bringing it home for us, though, when he shot it from the corner. I was like, oh, Frank's going to bring it home for the home team. He's going to knock it down for the home team. Send it in overtime. Nope, he banked it up, clanked it off the side of the backboard or something. So it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, listen, hopefully they know what they're doing over there in Dallas. God bless them, more power to them. But even if the Knicks don't get this pick, I'm not really worried about it. Like I said, like I told you a few shows ago, well, next year, and at least we expect Dallas to be better. They have an All NBA top 5 player in the world over there, so you expect them to be better than what they did this season.
Right.
And that means we'll get that pick next year.
Right.
And even if we don't, we can still move it. It'll go to the next year, and we can potentially trade it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really concerned about it at all. That pick for us, really, it's not going to have anywhere to play on the roster anyway.
Nope.
Knicks most likely won't make any trades before draft night anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. So I'm fine. It is what it is. Dallas can do whatever they want, take their pick. It's all good. We'll have it next year.
Yeah, either next year, then I think after next year it might, if it doesn't convey next year, it may turn into second round picks, a couple of second round picks or
Right.
something like that.
A couple seconds. Yeah.
If somehow they still do get it, the Knicks still do get it this year, they may even trade it forward where, because they may not use the pick. They may trade it forward where, let's say they have two first round picks next, in the next draft,
Right.
which could be valuable because there may be more people available to trade for. You know what I mean? So who knows? But, the Dallas Mavericks, always a wonder over there in Dallas, man. You know what I mean? And I think the only reason why Luka played tonight is because it was, some kind of special night, international night or something like that, that they were having. So they wanted to make sure that he was out there on the floor. But I don't know. Fun times in the NBA, man. Fun times for the New York Knicks. They'll be in the playoffs. Last game, the last home game of the season is on Sunday at 1 p.m. And then they'll be getting ready for the playoffs. And we got tickets to Game 4, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you get your ticket. I think there's only 9 left. Someone just bought one as we're on the show. Just 9 tickets left. $365 per ticket. You get 1 ticket to Game 4. Seating in a luxury lounge. Food and drink. Soft drinks, not alcohol. Alcohol is on your own. All right. There'll be some giveaways we'll be doing to be announced, but we plan to do pre and post games probably at Legends. We got to confirm everything with Legends, but that's what's on the docket for the night. All right. Once we get this taken care of, we're going to start looking at, doing some watch-alongs and stuff like that for the other games. All right. So be on the lookout for that. But if you haven't got your ticket for Game 4, which is going to be a big game, make sure you get your tickets. All right. 9 tickets left. Be honest with you, if you don't get them now, they may not make it past Saturday, or maybe there's 1 or 2 straggling into Sunday. You know what I mean? So make sure that you get them right now, ladies and gentlemen. And after we get this said and done, I'll be honest with you. If the Knicks get to the second round, I spoke with the people at MSG and said, well, how much will a suite be in the second round? And before the hype even began, it's like $25,000 for the suite.
Oh,
for the lounge, not the suite, the lounge. You know what I'm saying? So now you're talking about, for the lounge, $500, $550 for the ticket. Round 2 prices are going to be nuts if the Knicks get to round 2. Can't imagine what it would be like if they get to the finals. Prices are off the chain. Off the chain. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So, the Knicks get to round 2, there'll be a lot of watch-alongs going around. A lot of watch-alongs and all of that. And watch parties. But for now, it's a decent price. So make sure that you get your ticket and whatnot. And then after that,
you get some the amenities that come with it, the food and,
exactly.
and complimentary food and drink. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
can't go wrong
exactly. With that. And then after that, once we get that done, we're gonna start taking down payments for next year's opening night early. So we can get that out the way. But Josh, any last thing before we get out of here? I'll probably jump on tomorrow a little bit and talk about some things. But any last things you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say, listen, I'm happy with the way RJ played tonight. Like I said, he is very limited because of his inability to knock down the 3 ball on a consistent basis. Tonight, he was playing more in an off-ball role, but he's just very limited. His game is just very limited. You know, despite that, when Randall and Brunson comes back, RJ is going to have to be relegated more to the off-ball role. So for him to be the best that he can be, in my opinion, when those two come back, is he has to be better catch and shoot threes. You know, when that ball gets kicked out to him, if he can knock those 3-pointers down, the Knicks have a really good chance of winning the first round playoff series.
Yeah.
But without that, you know, we're going to be limited as a team.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Let me ask you this: what do you think the Knicks' chances of winning the first round series without Julius Randle are?
30%. I think it's 30%. I think, yeah. I believe in the fact that we are playing, faster paced basketball. It looks good. The ball's moving, but we also give up a lot of points at that. And Donovan Mitchell is a problem. When he is a problem. I don't want to go bucket for bucket with that guy. Brunson got him the previous game that we played him, but Donovan Mitchell is just a different animal. And I don't want to go shot for shot with Cleveland. I think they have more talent. If Randall's not going to play, I think they will have more talent at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be tough too. I think it's doable, but I think it would be a lot harder. You know, I mean, like, they would have to play a perfect series. You know what I mean? With Randall, I think they can win without the series being perfect, because I think they match up talent-wise. But I agree.
Right.
I think they would definitely have more talent. I think we'd have some guys that could step up. Quickly could step up, obviously, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, hopefully. So we'd have some guys that could step up. So I think it's doable, but they'd have to play a perfect series to get it done. You know what I mean? And it would
right now I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50 now. Right? With Randall, 50-50. Without him, I'm dropping it down to 30%.
Okay. All right. That's tough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Please make sure you take some time and check out all the information and details about these tickets. Hopefully, I'll see you there. Again, just 9 tickets left. So jump on it if you're going to jump on it. Anyway, we're up out of here. I will see you sometime tomorrow, folks. I'm out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.